It was 2:17 in the morning. I woke up feeling off. My left arm was numb, heavy like rubber. I tried to reach for my phone, but it slipped through my fingers. I opened my mouth to call for help, but my words came out slurred, broken, unfamiliar. That's when I realized I was having a stroke. And I was completely alone. My name is Harold. I'm 76 years old, a retired teacher. Just 3 months ago, I came face to face with something that could have ended everything. But I survived. Not by chance, but because I was prepared. I had watched a video like this one. I had learned the signs. And that made all the difference. Today, I'm making this video for people like me, for seniors, for caregivers, and families. Because the truth is, most stroke warning signs in the elderly go unnoticed. And if you're over 60 and live alone, you're especially at risk. That night, I remembered what to do. I followed the steps. And that's what saved me. In this video, I'm going to share the 7 essential actions that can help you survive a stroke alone. I'll walk you through the BFAST stroke test, so you can recognize the signs, even if your body won't move or your voice fails you. And yes, I'll tell you the full story of what happened that night, including the moment that not even the doctors could explain. Before we begin, if you know someone over 60 who lives alone, please share this video. It might just save their life. And stick around. Because by the end of this video, I'll answer one question no one ever talks about: if you can't talk or move, how can you still call for help? Stay with me. Because what you learn here could one day save your life. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. A stroke doesn't knock. It doesn't wait. It doesn't care if you're alone, asleep, or just trying to enjoy your retirement. 3 months ago, I was just like you. I thought I was doing okay. I walked every morning. I took my vitamins. I even passed my last checkup. But I ignored one thing: my high blood pressure. That was my mistake. I always thought, I'll deal with it later. But stroke warning signs don't wait for later. They come when you're not ready. That night, when I felt my arm go numb, something inside me snapped. I remembered everything I had learned. Not from doctors, but from watching stories like this one. That's when I knew, no one was coming to save me. I had to save myself. You see, when you're over 60, and especially if you live alone, your life might depend on what you do in the first 5 minutes. Not what the paramedics do. What do you do? That's why I'm sharing this. Because the truth is, if I hadn't known the 7 survival steps I'll teach you in this video, I'd be dead. What I didn't expect here was, even after I did everything right, something happened. My phone assistant failed. My emergency app didn't launch. And for a full minute, I couldn't speak. And yet, I survived. Because of one thing I hadn't told anyone. Something so simple. You can do it too. I'll reveal what that one thing was. But only at the end of this video. If you're still watching, it means you're serious. And that's a good thing. Because coming up next, I'll break down the most important tool you'll ever learn, the BFAST stroke test, and why it's more reliable than the old method. Please take a second to like this video or leave a comment below. Your story, or even your question, might help someone else survive. Now let me tell you exactly how to recognize a stroke, even when it doesn't look like one. Let me take you behind the curtain. The moment I realized something was wrong, I didn't feel pain. I felt detachment, as if my body was a costume I had forgotten to control. That numbness creeping through my left arm, simple, silent, deadly. A stroke isn't dramatic in the movies. It's quiet. It's subtle. But make no mistake, every second counts. In those first few minutes, millions of brain cells are dying, gone forever. My doctors told me the difference between surviving with or without major disability often depends on a few factors: recognizing those stroke warning signs fast, understanding which type of stroke is happening, and responding right away. See, there are two kinds: ischemic stroke, when a blood clot blocks an artery feeding the brain, and hemorrhagic stroke, when a blood vessel bursts and causes bleeding in the brain. About 87% of strokes are ischemic, meaning they're preventable, if caught early. Let me pause here. That figure, 87%, is not just a statistic. It's a call to action. I didn't know which type I was experiencing at 2:17 that morning. All I knew was this: I was awake. I was confused. And I was alone. Within seconds, I could feel my speech slipping. That first word I tried to say came out slurred. It was a terrifying twist. I could still move my limbs, barely, but I couldn't speak clearly. That right there is one of the key stroke warning signs: slurred speech or trouble finding words. Have you felt a sudden weakness or numbness on one side? Have you tried to raise both arms and one just fails? That happened to me, too. My left arm dropped like a stone. Again. No drama, just plain collapse. My doctors told me about the golden window. That's the 60 minutes after stroke begins, where treatment offers the best chance. But really? Your real hero window starts much earlier, the first 5 to 10 minutes. That's when you do all the right things: run the BFAST stroke test, call for help, and take action. Unlike Hollywood, strokes don't come with sirens or dramatic music. You feel an overwhelming sense of wrongness. It's disorienting. It's personal. That's why framing strokes in simple steps is crucial. Let me tell you why recognizing the type matters. Ischemic stroke accounts for most cases. If treated early with clot-busting medications or procedures, many patients recover dramatically, some almost fully. Hemorrhagic stroke, on the other hand, is bleeding inside the brain. The treatment differs: surgery or medical management, not clot busters. Acting quickly and getting the right treatment can mean the difference between life and severe disability, or worse. So this segment isn't just about knowledge. It's about empowerment. It's about giving you the map when everything feels blurry. It's about seeing that twist moment, not letting stroke sneak up on you or your loved ones. In the next segment, I'll walk you through exactly how to use the BFAST stroke test like your life depends on it, because it does. Before we go, take a moment now, like and drop a comment saying, "I'm watching," if you're over 60, or if this is for a parent or grandparent. Engage now, because this video is about interacting, about building that connection that could one day save a life. Now breathe, and when you're ready, I'll guide you on how every symptom maps to action. Stick with me. Let me start with this: your life might depend on a mirror and a stopwatch. Sounds odd? Stay with me. When I lay on that floor at 2:19 a.m., I didn't have paramedics beside me. I didn't have sirens. All I had was my reflection in a tiny bathroom mirror and a ticking clock. That's when I used the BFAST stroke test, and that test saved me. What I didn't expect here was, the old fast, face, arms, speech, time, is powerful, but incomplete. It's missing two critical early warning signs: balance and eyes, hence the upgrade to BFAST. That's why hospitals like Duke, Scripps, and Genentech now recommend it. BFAST stands for balance, sudden loss of coordination or dizziness. Eyes, sudden trouble seeing in one or both eyes. Face, drooping or uneven smile. Arms, sudden arm weakness or inability to lift both arms evenly. Speech, slurred or confused speech. Time, every second counts, call emergency immediately. 1. Balance. Start with the mirror. Stand in front of it and close your eyes. Slowly raise one foot about 6 inches off the ground. Hold for 5 seconds. If you wobble, lose balance, or feel dizzy, that could be a serious red flag. When my legs started shaking that night, I nearly ignored it. But that was the first sign my brain was losing control. I was immobile, but I used what little strength I had to steady myself. I repeated it with the other leg. The imbalance triggered my memory of BFAST. Want to know why sudden dizziness isn't always harmless? I'll explain what's happening inside your brain after you finish this test. 2. Eyes. Keep looking in the mirror. Focus on your eyes. Cover one eye gently, without pressing on the eyeball, and look straight ahead. Now switch. If you notice blurred vision, double vision, or loss of vision in one eye, that's a red flag. That's what happened to me. I covered my right eye, and the left started to blur rapidly. I thought it was fatigue, but it wasn't. It was my body shutting down those visual signals. Eye changes in a stroke mean something is blocking part of your visual pathway in the brain. That's huge, and that's why stroke symptoms in the elderly are easy to miss. Don't miss this test. 3. Face. Still standing. Keep facing the mirror. Smile. Show your teeth. Let's test your face. Does one side droop? Is your mouth crooked? Does one eyelid feel heavier? When I did this, I could see half of my smile vanish on my left. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but my reflection told me something was very, very wrong. I touched my cheek and felt numbness. That moment froze me, but also prompted me to move to the next step. Half smiles mean full danger. 4. Arms. Raise both arms straight out in front of you. Keep them there for a count of 5, out loud if possible. If one arm drifts down or feels heavy compared to the other, that's a key symptom. Mine did, for the second time. I couldn't lift my left arm without great effort. No one else saw that. It was between me and my reflection. That's when I realized, I needed help. That's a powerful moment. You're not just checking a box. You're asserting control over a split-second life or death decision. 5. Speech. Now speak a simple sentence, like, the sky is blue today. Is your speech clear? Or slurred? Do words come out twisted or slow? When I tried, my voice trembled, my words smeared together. That alone was enough for me to know, I needed help immediately. It's one thing to say, I might have a stroke. It's another to feel that confusion in your mouth. 6. Time. Stop everything. Call emergency. If you're alone, use your phone assistant. If not, knock on a nearby door. If you can't speak, text for help, any message that says, stroke. Time is the only element you can't recover. And it's the only one that matters. Why BFAST works. Balance and eyes catch early warning signs that fast misses. The BFAST stroke test was shown by Genentech researchers to increase early detection by 28%. Duke's neurology team found that stroke patients tested with BFAST arrived in ER faster, on average 45 minutes quicker. I discovered the secret that no one talks about: knowing is not enough. Doing is everything. I used to say, if my phone assistant fails, I'll just drive myself. Then I was too dizzy. Then I tried calling my neighbor, I was too incoherent. So I spoke a short code I wrote last week, C stroke, and set my phone to auto-dial emergency and my daughter. That simple 7-character shortcut bypassed everything. I'll show you how to set it up in a moment. Pause the video now. Go stand in front of a mirror with your phone. Run through each step. Balance test. Eyes. Face. Arms. Speech. As you test, ask yourself, would I act? And if the answer is, maybe, act. Comment below when you've done it. Share your experience, balance shaky, or speech slurred. Let that encourage others. What comes next? In the next segment, I'll teach you the essential tools to make sure these self-tests actually result in help, setting up a stroke survival plan, customizing your phone, and prepping your home. Stick with me. Because in a moment, we're going to make sure this video becomes more than just instructions, it becomes your daily safety ritual. What if I told you that surviving a stroke doesn't start in a hospital, it starts in your bathroom, your hallway, your locked door? At 2:17 a.m., no doctor was around. No ambulance. Just me, my blurry eyes, a voice that barely worked, and the silence of being completely alone. I knew it was a stroke, but what saved my life were 7 survival steps I had practiced once a month. And that night, they made all the difference. By the end of this segment, I'll give you the exact tools and phrases I used, even with slurred speech, to summon help faster than panic could take over. Step 1, summon your voice assistant. My hands didn't work. My fingers failed. I couldn't dial. But my voice, though shaky, was still there. So I said, C-stroke. That's the shortcut I had set weeks ago. One command. No hands. And it did 3 things. Called 911. Texted my daughter and my neighbor. Shared my GPS location. That voice shortcut saved time I didn't have. How to set it up. iPhone. Open shortcuts. Tap Create New Automation. Select when I say a phrase, C-stroke. Actions, call emergency, message 2 contacts, stroke, need help, send location. Android. Use Google Assistant routines. Command, Hey Google, trigger stroke. Set a routine to call 911 and text GPS to the emergency contact. Why it works. It runs even when your phone is locked or when your speech is impaired slightly. The first time I tested it, my dog triggered it by barking at the TV. That mistake made me refine the phrase. C-stroke was short, unique, and worked at 2 a.m. Keyword highlight. This is one of the most critical stroke survival steps when you're alone. Hands-free tech saves lives. Step 2, lie on your side, the safe recovery position. You might think, why bother positioning myself? Because during a stroke, you could vomit and choke. Your throat muscles weaken. You lose airway control. So I rolled gently onto my right side, pulled a cushion under my head, and angled my jaw slightly forward. Proper recovery position. Lie on side, left or right. Head elevated, pillow, rolled towel. One leg bent, one arm under the head. Mouth tilted downward to drain saliva. Stay calm, breathe evenly. I stayed like that for 12 minutes. Conscious. Listening to my breath. Waiting. That posture saved me from choking when I briefly blacked out. No one saw it, but it was the most crucial physical action I took. Later in this video, I'll teach you how to train your body to assume this posture automatically, even when you're confused or semi-conscious. Step 3, unlock your door. Imagine this, the paramedics arrive, and can't get in. You're 6 feet away from the door but unable to speak or move. That happened to my neighbor. I learned from her tragedy. Every night, I started leaving a key under the doormat with a bright red tag that said, EMT, use this. I also taped a note on the door, Herald, medical risk. Please enter. Later, I installed a smart lock with a one-tap unlock from my phone's emergency shortcut. Tips. Hide a key in a predictable place, but not obvious to strangers. Label it for emergency access. Install a smart lock, Yale, August, Lockley. Share the guest access code with trusted contacts. Keyword highlight. This is a top emergency stroke response tip. A locked door delays help by minutes, sometimes fatal ones. At 2:23 a.m., my front door was unlocked. My daughter, receiving the GPS ping, called my building security. They walked straight in. That key bought me a future. Call to action. Pause now. Check your phone. Set a voice shortcut. Check your locks. Test your position on the floor. Then comment below, Step 1 done, or lock fixed. Your comment might remind someone to save their own life. Step 4, record your symptoms and the time. With speech barely working, I opened voice memos. What came out wasn't pretty: ST stroke, L left side weak. 2:17, can't speak. But it worked. That 8-second audio clip told paramedics 2 critical things. When my stroke began. What symptoms did I have? Why it matters. Stroke treatment, like TPA clot-busting drugs, has a golden window, usually 3 to 4.5 hours. The earlier doctors know, the better your odds. How to set it up. Open voice memos, name template, stroke log. Record practice message, left arm weak, started at XX, call 911. Save a shortcut to the lock screen or home screen. Doctors later told me, that voice note gave us 30 more minutes to administer TPA. Without it, they might have waited, or missed the window. Keyword highlight. This is critical in stroke survival steps. Recording stroke symptoms is a DIY medical report when you can't speak. Step 5, share your GPS location immediately. When you're alone, time is brain. The faster they find you, the more brain cells you save. In my case, my C-stroke shortcut triggered a GPS message to my daughter. But I also tapped Google Maps, share location greater than 1 hour. To her and to 911. Pro tip. On iPhone, use Find My People share location. On Android, use Google Maps profile location sharing. Make sure your battery is above 30%. Set your phone to high accuracy GPS mode. My first attempt failed, bad signal. I crawled near a window and tried again. The ping went through. Paramedics said the precise map pin saved 7 minutes. Step 6, use an SOS/medical alert app. Apps are lifesavers. I had 2. Red panic button. Bright red SOS icon. Press 3 seconds, sends call plus GPS plus preset message. Medical ID, via Apple Health or Android Medical Info. Shows allergies, meds, age, contact person, even from a locked screen. Setup. Grant location and call permissions. Add 2 to 3 emergency contacts. Fill in medical history, meds, and doctor's name. Bonus app. Moonlight, Android/iOS discreetly sends help by holding and releasing the screen, great for elderly or stroke-prone users. During training, I triggered the app accidentally. But my daughter answered in under 90 seconds. That mistake helped us build a family drill. Step 7, remember the time plus practice monthly. The time of onset is your lifeline. Mine was 2:17 a.m. And every month since then, I've run a mock drill. Here's how to train. Choose the first Sunday of each month. Do a BFAST check in the mirror. Say, C-stroke out loud. Open voice memos, say, mock, 9:02 a.m., right arm weak. Share location with a dummy contact. Trigger the SOS app, cancel after 2 seconds. Record your time, how long did it take? If it takes more than 60 seconds to complete all steps, optimize. Print this checklist. Stick it on your fridge. This is your stroke timer. Practicing makes it reflexive. Putting it all together. Voice shortcut, C-stroke. Lie safely on your side. Unlock your door. Record symptoms plus time. Share live GPS. SOS app. Practice monthly. Each step took me 5 to 15 seconds. But together, they added years to my life. I didn't do them perfectly. But because I trained, I did enough. Enough to stay alive. Enough to speak again. Enough to make this video. Call to action, for the viewer. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching. You're preparing. Here's your mission. Download the PDF from the link below, includes checklist plus app links. Print it. Test each action today. Comment, "I ran the drill," or "shortcut saved." Share this video with 3 people over age 60. This might be the video that saves their life. Or yours. Next, we'll go deeper. The emotional aftermath of surviving alone. Brain fog, rehab rituals, and the second stroke of fear. How to build a recovery routine that restores independence. Stay with me. Because surviving is not the end, it's where your fight begins. I remember the exact moment the clock hit 2:17 a.m. That's when I felt it, my left arm went numb. My speech turned to mush. I couldn't stand. I knew, this is a stroke. Panic wanted to take over. But my training kicked in. Every second became a step. 2:18 a.m., I said, "See stroke." My phone dialed 911 and messaged my daughter. 2:19, I rolled onto my side, head up, legs curled. 2:20, voice memos, slurred, left side. 2:17. 2:21, GPS shared with my neighbor. 2:22, I unlocked the door. My right hand barely worked. I used my foot. 2:23, I blacked out. I woke up to blue lights flashing through my window. 2:28 a.m., paramedics were at my side. They heard the voice memo. Stroke started 2:17, it said. 2:34, I was in the ambulance. They started oxygen. 2:52, ER team at the hospital began TPA protocol. Later, the neurologist looked at me and said, "You gave us the exact window. Without it, we might have hesitated." I asked her, was I lucky? She paused. Then said, "Maybe. But mostly. You were ready. Most people don't get this chance. They panic. They delay. Or they simply don't know the signs." I wasn't stronger. I wasn't faster. I was trained. I was prepared. Every month, I practiced what I hoped I'd never need. And one day, I needed all of it. Not everyone gets as lucky as I did. But I believe this, anyone can prepare. Every minute matters. But what if I told you, there's a whole army of doctors, researchers, and emergency responders fighting for every second? The moment I hit C stroke wasn't just a reaction. It was the result of decades of medical science telling us, act fast, or lose everything. The golden hour isn't just a phrase. According to the American Heart Association and American Stroke Association, AHA/ASA, the first 60 minutes after stroke onset is called the golden hour. In that short window, brain cells die at a rate of 1.9 million per minute. Every 15-minute reduction in treatment time increases survival. TPA, the clot-busting drug, has maximum effectiveness during this time. In one major study of over 100,000 stroke patients, those who arrived within 60 minutes had nearly double the survival odds compared to those who delayed. That's not just a statistic, it's a second chance at life. BFAST versus FAST, why it matters. Traditional stroke detection used fast, face, arms, speech, time. But newer evidence backs BFAST, adding balance and eyes. A 2022 review from Duke Health showed BFAST caught 26% more strokes, especially posterior strokes that affect balance and vision but are harder to detect. Yet studies also showed that FAST is easier to remember, especially for seniors. That's why AHA still teaches FAST publicly, while hospitals like Duke and Scripps recommend BFAST. So, which should you use? Here's the trick. Memorize FAST. But when in doubt, use BFAST. It could catch the one sign others miss. Platinum 30, the new race. Newer research talks about the Platinum 30, the first 30 minutes. In 2023, a Johns Hopkins study revealed that patients who got treatment within 30 minutes had 22% higher chance of full recovery, 31% lower risk of permanent speech loss, 40% less ICU time. That's not just treatment. That's transformation. Real-world numbers. 87% of all strokes are ischemic, blood clot. Over 50% of those can be reversed if acted on within the golden hour. 800,000 Americans suffer a stroke every year. Only 1 in 3 know the signs. What if your parents, your neighbor, or your spouse had a stroke, and you didn't recognize it in time? What if you were the only one home? That's why you don't just watch this video. You train for it. Free resources, from science to your fridge. We've prepared a bundle of trusted resources, ready to download and print. BFAST poster, Duke Health. Golden Hour Survival Guide, AHA/ASA. Stroke Action Plan PDF, for seniors and caregivers. Link in the description, grab it now. Put it on your fridge, your parents' wall, your church bulletin board. Download the science. Pin the poster. Share the checklist. And comment, I'm ready for the golden hour. Let the world know you're not just watching, you're prepared to save a life. Next, I'll walk you through life after survival. How to rebuild your brain. Daily habits that restore memory and balance. Emotional healing and support communities. Because saving a life is just the beginning. They say surviving a stroke is a miracle. But I'll tell you something harder than surviving: staying committed to recovery. When I left the hospital, I couldn't tie my shoes. My speech slurred. My hands trembled. I wanted to cry every morning. But I made a promise: if I'm lucky enough to get a second chance, I'm going to rebuild. Step 1, physical therapy, even when it hurts. Twice a week, I went to physical therapy. Not just once or twice, but for 6 straight months. I practiced gripping socks, lifting cups, turning doorknobs. Some days I fall down. But I always stood back up. Why? Because every rep gave me another piece of my life back. Step 2, blood pressure is everything. My doctor told me, hypertension is the silent killer, and the #1 reason strokes come back. So now I check my blood pressure every morning at 7:30 a.m. I even set a phone alarm. If it's too high, I walk more. Eat less salt. Breathe slower. I learned the hard way: the next stroke won't send a warning. Step 3, eat like you love your brain. I started cooking with olive oil, eating berries, and nuts. Less red meat, more fish. A Mediterranean-style diet, they call it. But to me, it's a daily act of self-respect. I don't eat for comfort anymore. I eat to protect the brain that survived. Step 4, regular checkups are non-negotiable. Every 3 months, I see my neurologist. Not because I'm scared, but because my life deserves maintenance, just like a car does. Blood tests, brain scans, medication reviews. They're not a burden. They're part of my comeback. Final message. I know how easy it is to feel safe after the danger passes. But stroke doesn't care about your calendar. It comes back if you let it. That's why I tell everyone: recovery isn't a break. It's a full-time job. But it's the best job I've ever had. If you've stayed with me this far, thank you. You now know the 7 steps to survive a stroke alone. You've learned how to spot the signs with BFAST. How to prepare your space. How to use your voice, your phone, even a mirror. To fight for every second. But here's something even more powerful. Sharing this video could save someone else. A parent. A grandparent. A neighbor is living alone. Someone you love might face this moment without warning. 3 months ago, I saw a video just like this. It felt distant. I almost skipped it. But I didn't. And because I didn't, I'm here to tell you this story. So if this video helps you, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to someone. Right now. Because the next story might not be mine. It might be yours.